Hello, Henry here. My son Henry and I are going to show you and talk to you about the methods that we've been doing for our management of COVID for over the last 5 or 6 weeks now. It's been successful for us, and we've been using science. To demonstrate this, or to cover the different areas. So we're going to demonstrate this for you, and hopefully you can learn some technology that you can use for your own family and for yourself at home. All of the technology and all of the science that we're talking about will provide information for in the link below, and hopefully again you can learn some things. All right, so first I'm going to remove my shoes outside. I had already unstrung them, untied them. So I'm going to remove my shoes outside, and this is in an area that gets direct sun. So this is constantly being heated by ultraviolet light as well as heat, and is exposed to the environment. So it washes away. All right? I'll come back for that later. Okay, so I've come into the house, I've removed my shoes, I removed one glove in the car, which I had placed on the floor mat at my feet. And so I'm holding that with my gloved hand, and I'm going to show you my method of now beginning the disinfection and antivirucidal process. We have a room that's designated in our home for nothing more than being as the quote clean room. It's where we clean things and disinfect things, and it's not used for any other purpose. Normally this is our guest room, but for this COVID situation, we've dedicated the area to this purpose only. And it happens to be at our front door, but for COVID, we have not been using the front door. We've been using our rear door. The front door goes into a shared airspace. We live in a condo. Goes to a shared airspace where other tenants are coming and going. We don't use that door at all. We haven't used it in weeks, 5 weeks. We have a dedicated door at our kitchen that is just to us, and it's accessible to a small patio and a fire escape. And so we go up and down that. It's much safer and saner. All right. So I come in here and I have this chest here. I'm just going to use that as my table for the moment. So I've got a receipt. I was at the UPS store earlier, and the man from UPS gave me this receipt in hand. And so I'm going to put that down. He had his hands on it. I've forgotten what that bag is for, so I'm just going to brush that off. I'm going to put my shoes right there. I'm going to remove my glove like so. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to presume that my hands are dirty. Okay. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my hydrogen peroxide, which we normally keep accessible right here in the room, but I know that it's right around the corner. I'll be right back. Peroxide. This is 3% hydrogen peroxide. It is straight hydrogen peroxide. I've not watered it down. I attached a spray nozzle directly to the bottle, and I've got a pair of booties. Now these are painter's booties. You can put this right over the sole of the shoe. If for some reason you needed to come into your home from outside and you didn't have a secondary entrance like we do, you could use this. Or if for some bizarre reason I had a guest that came over, we have not been hosting guests, but if I had an emergency and I had a guest come over, I would have these put on their feet if they could not remove their shoes for some bizarre reason. But normally, even pre-COVID, we'd always have our guests remove their shoes. That's just been our rule. All right. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the hydrogen peroxide and I'm going to spray the gloves and the soles of my shoes. The hydrogen peroxide will not discolor your materials. It will not break it down. But what it will do is within approximately 60 seconds, it will attack that of bacteria as well as viruses. It will attack it directly, chemically, and break it down. So you don't need a lot. A little goes a long way, like that. And it's an aerosol pattern, like that. I'm going to rotate the glove, like that, like that. And I'm even going to do this shipping receipt, like that. And I got both sides. Now I'm going to do my shoe. I'm just going to stick my hand inside the shoe where my foot was. I'm just going to get the sole, like that, like that. Okay? So that's the first step. And what I would do is I would just let the hydrogen peroxide sit and activate. I've got my table over here to put things down on. Let that activate for a moment. And then the next step is to do my mask. So I've been wearing this mask. It was outside. I've got air when I was inhaling particulates that are on the front of the mask. I was exhaling, and I'm going to have particulates that are on the inside of the mask. I'm a healthy person. I don't have COVID, but I don't know what the environment was outside. So I'm going to do the same treatment for my mask. I'm going to take my fingers and remove my loops like this. And then it comes off of my face. Notice that it popped off, and that's because I had the metal bar up here fitted well to my nose, and it was underneath my glasses, so that way they didn't fog my glasses. I'm just going to hold it like so, and I'm going to spray the inside with hydrogen peroxide, rotate, and I'm going to spray the outside. All right? And again, I'm just going to let it sit and do its job as so. Okay, now while that's working, the next thing that you'll notice is that we have this plastic bin. It is a trash bin. Oh, and I forgot, Henry's got his stuff in here as well. So I'll treat Henry's gear as well while we're here. So his mask from when we were outside taking a walk earlier. And I'm just going to rotate. Okay. All right. Just lay that down. He's got a pair of gloves in here. And I know he didn't touch anything, but as we were walking, he didn't touch anything, but we do it anyway. All right. Lay that there. And then he has his tennis shoes in here. So I'm going to get the soles of that. The reason we do the soles is because people walk around spitting on the ground. It's real nasty. We don't know what's going on in these people's mouths, but people are constantly as regular spitting, and it's just nasty. So we take care of that as well, just to be on the safe side. All right. Let's put that right there. All right. So this bin, I'll get down so you can see me better. This bin is nothing more than a trash bin that we repurposed. So this trash bin has a floating lid like this that you can open and close. And we normally leave it open when the bin is ready for use. We close it when there's any kind of material in here that is being disinfected. So in this case, it's open. And then on the inside of the bin, we've lined it with a trash liner. And the trash liner acts as the reason that I chose a black bin is because hydrogen peroxide is highly susceptible to sunlight. So, and that's why it always comes in a brown bottle, as opposed to alcohol, which comes in a clear or a white bottle. And so by putting it in a black bin, the hydrogen peroxide is slow to break down. And then putting this white liner in here This is a protectant for the bin, which we'll get to in a moment, but it allows me to take the liner off of the bin and clean the inside of it, which we'll get to in just a sec. Now, another thing that you're going to notice here is you see there's a lamp here, and it has a peculiar looking bulb. This is a commercial medical UV ultraviolet light bulb. It is used in medical facilities and in commercial applications as both an antibacterial to kill bacteria, as well as an antivirucidal. And it's antivirucidal by killing viruses. It inactivates viruses. So it doesn't make them burn away. It doesn't create heat. It uses radiation, electromagnetic radiation, to kill the RNA, ribonucleic acid, which is it is the method that a virus uses to replicate itself. It is the genetic code. It is literally the genetic code that a virus would then use to infiltrate another cell, and then from there replicate its genetic material. So it does not kill a virus in the sense of making it dead. It's still there, and it doesn't make it disappear, but it neutralizes it and makes it unable to replicate itself. That's important, because our bodies, we can, due to our T cells and our white blood cells, we can fight against a viral infection, which we do all the time with the common cold and rhinoviruses and the flu, the regular influenzas that are multiples. We can normally manage that through our own normal processes. But what happens is a virus duplicates itself repeatedly and then overwhelms our body to the point that we can no longer manage that. And then from there, we end up suffering significant breakdown of our health systems. In the case of COVID, it strongly appears that it affects both our pulmonary systems, heart, as well as our cardiovascular systems, which are the lungs. And so by this methodology of killing the RNA, it greatly reduces the opportunity for COVID to duplicate itself and then overwhelm our body. All right, so in this particular case, I've been talking for at least a minute. I believe about probably 4 minutes. So what the next step that we're going to do is I'm going to remove the lamp, which was the last step. It's the final step of our process. I'm going to remove the lamp for a moment. And then the next step is this. This is a steamer. You would normally use this. Here it is. And it could be any steamer. You would normally use this to steam your clothes. And what it is nothing more than a hot kettle. I'm going to take the top off so you guys can see inside. There you go. So inside there's water. It's just water. It's not potable water. Potable water, you wouldn't drink it because it's not for that intent. But it's no different than a kettle. So it's run off of electricity. You turn it on, it boils, and it gets really hot, generating steam. It gets really hot, generating steam. Now that steam, normally, you would use that on your clothing. So if your clothing is very wrinkly, or even if it was smelly, you can run the steam over the clothing, and it causes the fabric to loosen, and it kills bacteria. That's when we smell things, our nose, our olfactory organs, it picks up the bacteria, which is a solid. So scent and smell is an actual physical thing. You just can't see it, but we can sense it. And so this kills that. Now we also know from studies that go back to the late 70s and the early 80s that high temperature, specifically from steam, can also kill viruses, specifically the influenza virus. The influenza virus is normally sensitive to temperature, but not temperature like outside walking around where it's like 90 degrees and we humans think that's hot. We're talking about very, very high temperatures at the boiling point of water, which is steam. And it is normal in industrial applications to use steam as a manner of disinfecting both bacterial and anti-germicidal as well as antiviral. So that's what we're doing here now. So I'm going to take the unit, which is plugged into a multi-block. So I've already put into the wall, and I'm not going to show you. Rather than just two outlets, I plugged in a device that has 6 outlets. I can see it here. It has 6 outlets, so all of our devices are plugged into that, and you only turn on one at a time. So this one's already full with water. Our normal protocol is after use, you refill it with water so it's ready to run the next time. So I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to put the steam unit into the box as so. All right. And now I'm going to start dropping in all of my material. These I just generally clip on, are masks. I clip on using these clips. There you go, to the top. And I'm just going to...
And you can already hear the steam running.
Yep, you can hear the steam running. I'm just going to drop these in here. In fact, I'll do the shoes first because we've got a lot of stuff to do at once. So I'm putting the soles outward because that's the primary focus for the steam. That's what we want the steam to really get onto. There we go. And I'm going to drop the gloves in, primarily palm up. I'll get that. Yep, I'll get that. I saw it. All right, there we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, we'll put the thermometer in. Right now it says 69.5 degrees, which is room temperature in here. And you're going to see in just a moment, I'm going to put the thermometer at the topmost area. There you go. And then we're going to put the lid on. Actually, this one's blocking.
Last time you clipped it on the actual paper. I mean the, you know what I mean.
Leave it there. All right. So I'm just going to close it. And there we go. So it's a good seal now. The lid is down. The plastic is the trash liner. Oh, I forgot the receipt. So I'm going to drop the receipt in there too. Whoa, and yeah, take a look. You can already see the steam has accumulated. As soon as I opened it, it was gray, like looking at a cloud. So it's well sealed in there, and we're going to let that thing run. It's going to run for about 15 to 20 minutes based on the volume of water that's in the container. So we're going to let that run, then we'll come back and I'll show you the temperature that's on the thermometer. It's electronic or digital thermometer. We'll show you how that looks. Now, while that's running, what I'm going to do is now wash my hands, right? Because I've been touching things, and although I've sprayed them, and I'm going to put this booty liner in there too since I touched that. Although I've sprayed them, my hands are still possibly contaminated, so I'm going to go straight to the bathroom, use soap, and I don't know if we have any sitting around, but we got tons of soap, and just lather really well, get all the way up to my elbows. And Henry, come over here. You can hear it. You can hear it bubbling in there.
You can see it, yeah.
You can see the literal steam coming out of the box. So again, that steam is captured in the box. It is quite hot. You see that? Yep, you see it coming out.
I don't know if they can hear it though.
All right.
But you can definitely see it.
Well, you can absolutely hear it. If you were here, you can hear it. It sounds like a bubbling tea kettle. And I'm not going to lift the lid because I don't want to release all that hot air. We want that hot air to stay in the box. That's the focus. The hot air stay in the box and kill whatever's there.
You can feel it just getting on the lids, just getting warm.
Yeah, it's getting quite hot.
Yep.
Yep. So back on me. So while that's running, I'm gonna go wash my hands and get myself cleaned up. I don't have to show you how to wash your hands. You guys know that. That's been covered by the CDC and state governments and everybody else. You guys have seen that. So we're gonna do a cut and we'll come back in just a moment. Okay, we're back. Henry and I came back into the room. It is noticeably warmer in the room. And if you look at the container, you can still see the steam coming out of it. And it is,
you can see the condensation.
Yeah, I put my hand over it. It's quite warm, dude. This is hot. All right, so I'm gonna open the lid. It's been, what time is it now? It's been like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's 5:33 where it was 5:22.
All right, so I'm gonna open the lid, prepare for the blast. Woo! Look at that. Now I'm gonna pull, it's hot. 142 degrees.
What was it at, 69 before?
65 or something, 65, 66. So I'm gonna let it sit out because it's an electronic device. It's not really designed for that kind of like pressure. But I just put that in there. I wanted you guys to see that this is serious business. It's likely warmer than that. That's probably the top that this thing can manage. But it's crazy hot in there. And so, yeah, I'll take it out and just let it sit and dry. So I closed the lid and it's still bubbling. Yeah, it's still running. I can still hear it. So we're just gonna let it run some more. And I'm not gonna put the thermometer back in there because it's not the proper tool. We've only done it with the thermometer in there. I think this will be maybe the fourth or fifth time. We don't do that with regularity because it just isn't necessary. It's obvious that it's crazy hot in here. So I'm gonna leave the box closed. We'll come back in another 5 or 10 minutes, and we'll check on it to see it when it's complete. We let this thing run completely through water, and we keep water here in the room. There you go. We keep water here in the room to resupply it, and we'll just let it go. While I was gone, I did wash my hands, and you notice I'm wearing a different top. I took the sweater off because when I was at the UPS store to drop off some packages, I used my forearm and elbow to enter the store, to push the door open. So I have to assume that there's some kind of something on me at that point. And so I took the sweater off and I'm letting it sit in the sun, and it'll likely stay sitting in the sun for probably 2 days before I go and think about moving it again. Sitting in direct sun. Over my back here, we have eastern exposure to the left, then we have western exposure to the right. The sun goes here and it goes in an arc like that. So this side of the house, it's all windows, and it just gets hit with sun, direct sun all day. So when I have things that need to be exposed to the sun, to be sun cleansed, I put them there. And the thing about the sun is, aside from the heat that we feel, the radiant energy that we feel, most specifically, the sun gives off ultraviolet light. Ultraviolet light is a spectrum, wide spectrum of radiative energy, and which is where the bulb's going to come into in a moment. So among that radiation energy, we have visible light that we can see, which is why my shirt appears red and that I can be visible to you, etc. But we also have infrared, we have ultraviolet light, microwaves, a wide variety within that radiation energy that is generated from and comes to us by way of the sun. So putting things in sunlight, it's been an old-timey thing that people have been thinking, oh, the sun cleans everything. But they didn't understand the science behind why that is. The science is because of ultraviolet light. And ultraviolet light is hugely harmful to bacteria, germs, and viruses. All right? Actually, I got that backwards. Germs are largest, bacteria, and then viruses. But nonetheless, it works. All right, we'll be back in about 5 or 10 minutes and continue with this piece. Okay, so we're back. Now there's no steam coming in. The room doesn't feel like a sweat box. And so in the box, yeah, and look, there's water here. And if you can get close,
yep,
you can see condensation there. So it has ended itself. It's done.
Yep.
All right. So now I'm gonna lift the lid. Henry, you can take a peek. I'm gonna lift the lid. Whoa, it's still hot. I put my hand in there. You can still feel the heat, but it's absolutely cooler than it was before, because now I can stick my hand in there and not suffer. All right, so I'm gonna take the lid off. And look at all that condensation.
All that, yeah.
Look at all that condensation. All right, so I just put that on the floor. I'm gonna reach in and grab the device, turn it off. All right, I'm going to open it up and fill it with more water so it cools down. Yeah, as soon as I pour that water in there, look at that steam coming off. See that steam coming off? As soon as I pour the water in there, the heating element
Start heating it back up.
All right, so we'll just let that sit. Let that sit over here. All right. Now, something I've noticed in walking around town, and really, we haven't been outside all that often. This is the first time we've been outdoors in days. But in watching people through our windows, and today as we walked around, we saw a behavior that people are doing, and I'm going to say that it's out of ignorance of how to actually handle a mask. So I'm going to show you something that people are doing, and it's the wrong thing to do. All right, this is Henry's mask, so I'm just going to put it there. All right, so this is my mask. All right. And it's got, by the way, I wrote my name, H3, and then I have the date on the inside. So that's the date of last wear. And the next time when this is complete, I'm gonna write today's date on it again, and it'll indicate that I wore it today. So, all right, so the thing is, what I'm seeing people do is they have it clipped in, yikes. They have it clipped in, and it's like this on their chin. What is that? That's not you. And I've got facial hair, but putting it on your chin is actually reinfecting. It's not doing anything for you. You're actually getting all this germs and bacteria stuff back on the inside of your mask. What you should do is, if you're wearing it and for some reason you need to take it off, just do this, fold it, and bring it up like that, above the bridge of the nose. Now my mouth, you can see my mouth. I'll turn sideways. You see that? Above the bridge of the nose, not on the chin. All right, and then when I need to reactivate it, I just bring it back down like this. See that? This is proper. That's improper. All right? Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do, oh, that was a shoe, I see it there. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do, these are soaking wet. So they're not wet from the hydrogen peroxide, they're wet from the water, from the steam. So I'm gonna take these out for a moment. Take that out for a moment. There we go. So this is my receipt, my shipping manifest. And all right, so everything looks good. I'm just taking a peek. Everything looks good. All right, put that back in, put this back in, put that back in. And now we're gonna move on to our third level. So to review, we've done so far 2 levels of disinfection. We did a chemical disinfection. We did chemical disinfection using hydrogen peroxide, H2O2, 3% hydrogen peroxide. Then the second step was heat, and we've used steam as our method of heat. If you remember back to, just junior high school, never mind high school or college level sciences, you've got radiant heat, like in your oven. You've got electromagnetic heat, such as in your microwave, literally coming from microwaves. You've got steam heat, which is another form of radiant heat. and you've got heat from the sun, which is why in the wintertime we feel cold, and in the summertime we feel warmer. So what we've done here is we've used steam as a way of increasing the heat, the temperature of the surface of these products, the mask, the gloves, the shoes, etc. So I've got the light set up, and I'm going to put the lid right back on. Yeah, it's a little bit wet. I could probably wipe this off, but I don't have a towel. I'll just use this. There we go. All right. Toss it back in, and then seal it down nice and tight. I'm going to open the lid so you guys can see this. And Henry, go ahead and stand up. They're going to want to see this. All right, so we have a couple of safeties here. First, again, this is not a kind of light that just generates light like you put in your room. Do not do that. The light can be, with extended exposure, can be cancerous because, again, it kills RNA. So it's indiscriminate. It kills. So we have a couple of safeties. One, it's in the box. Two, the reason that I have this trash liner here is specifically for the light. Now, the trash liner on its own will capture these droplets from the steam, but that's not a big deal. It goes in the bottom, and it's just water. It also captures the evaporated hydrogen peroxide. I'm sorry, hydrogen peroxide doesn't really evaporate, but it collects any kind of liquids thereafter. Hydrogen peroxide just breaks down and it goes into oxygen because it's 2 molecules of hydrogen, 2 molecules of oxygen. And then when sunlight hits it, it breaks down and it frees itself. So the hydrogen and the oxygen break apart. Okay, so, but the main reason for this liner and the reason that I selected white is because the bin is black. Black is very, very low reflectivity, and it actually absorbs light. So what we don't want to have is the light absorbed by the bin. What we want is this ultraviolet light to be rebounded within the box. What is a high reflectivity color? White. And so having a white liner allows for the light to bounce all around within and get the maximum exposure of the radioactive energy. So I'm gonna put the lid back on. All right. Then we have 3 safeties. One, the lid itself. When you close it, boom, it's closed. You don't see anything. 2, we have the master switch to the lamp itself. Okay. And then 3, this is plugged into an outlet that comes off of a main outlet. You don't have to show the outlet. That comes off of a main switch for the room, which I'll show you in a moment. So we got 3 manner of safety for this, and it is important. Okay, so 1, I'm going to close the lid. 2, I'm going to activate the primary switch for the lamp itself. And then 3, what I've done is I've got the main switch here on the wall that also activates that lamp. This is a normal lamp, it's just a room lamp, but it's an indicator for us. So, and I always leave the door open when this is being disinfected. So if we walk by and that lamp is on, then we know that this lamp is on as well, and there's a disinfection process ongoing, okay? Now we also, if we have larger objects that are too big to fit in here, such as, again, Amazon shipments or a lot of mail or coats. Henry's coat is over here. Henry's jacket is here. And when he was going to school, before school was shut down, I would have him bring his coat, his jacket, and his backpack in here and put it in the room. And then that's where this came into play. So off camera, you've seen me, I've been kicking this around. This too is plugged in. This is a lamp. You just clamp it on to something. Put the bulb in. It too has its own master, like so, in the back. And this illuminates the entire room. And it has an aluminum reflector, so it reflects all the light forward, rather than just having it go in any given direction. This works great. So I can directionally apply it, turn it on, and it illuminates this entire room. In that case, the door is closed. The secondary light, the room light, is on as well, so you can still see it underneath the door edge crack, but the door itself is closed. And so that's a visual for us to know that, okay, this thing is running. All right? There we go. All right, so let's get it running. Lid is closed. Primary switch is activated, meaning forward. Off is to the rear. Forward is on. And now we're going to go to the main switch over here. And I'm going to turn on the room light. All right. And now what you're going to see, and I'm going to take the camera from Henry. What you're going to see is you can see in the cracks, see that light? That blue light? That is ultraviolet light, unfiltered. And I'm going to open the lid just a little bit. There you go. All right. All right, so we're going to leave this running. We're going to leave this running, and I generally let it run for about an hour. An additional item that I did not mention, though, and I'm going to do it now, is that when I was outside, I had to handle my wallet, my car keys, and my cell phone. So what I'm going to do is I've left them in my pocket. I'm going to now reach in and grab my wallet, my keys, and my cell phone. I'm going to drop it in there, okay? So I'm just going to, and Henry, you just can look, we can film me, but just close your eyes or look away. So I'm going to open the bin, drop my wallet, anywhere random, drop my car keys, anywhere random, doesn't matter, and drop my phone, anywhere random, doesn't matter. Close the lid. Now you can look at me. And close the lid. Easy peasy, okay? So just drop it in there, doesn't matter where, and then let this thing run for an hour, and we'll be solid. All right, we'll come back and check in with you in a moment. All right, we're back, folks. Hello. All right, we're at the door. We're going to open the door, and then I'm going to kill the master light. All right, so as I described before, master light is running. And so the overhead fan is also running. So it's just dispersing that ozone. And since if I turn the switch off, you won't be able to see me. It'll go into darkness. But no problem, no worries. We have the master switch on the lamp itself. So I'm just going to walk over there instead of switching this off. I switch off the master switch, and then I can open, and you can get a take a view of that. You can get a take a view of that. So boom, the light's off. Now you won't be able to tell this, but if I stick my head in there, it's kind of stinky.
It's the ozone.
Which is the ozone. All right, so I'm going to take the lid off, put that on the floor. What I'm also going to do, I forgot to do it before, I'm just going to spray down my work area. There you go. All right, so I can take everything out now, including our mask. This one's captured. Oh, because I clipped it on. There we go. All right, and it's actually quite dry. It's just slightly moist.
Damp, yeah.
Just slightly, ever so slightly. But it's largely dry. I'd say it's about 95% dry.
Yep.
And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our red pen. We keep a red pen here. I'm going to write today's date on it. What is today?
14th.
14th?
4/14.
All right, and then do the same for Henry's. All right, so as it goes to these masks, the last time that we used it was 4/4, so it was 10 days ago. And we've recycled these. They're good to go again now. And as it goes to any particulate solids, like when you're eating potato chips or something, or peanuts, and you got solids that come out, you can just shake it, but they're not there. The last thing that we're going to do is just hang it in a window.
For that direct sunlight.
Get that direct sunlight. And it's nighttime now, so in the morning, when the sun comes out, in fact, I'll hang this one up here. In the morning, when the sun comes out, it'll get direct sunlight, and with it having been hanging there all night, these things will be good to go. So you can rewear them. So you don't have to buy multiples of these. They'll be fine. I'll hang this one over here. And these particular masks are ASTM level 1 types. You got ASTM level 1 through level 4, and then of course you have N95 masks, which are NIOSH. ASTM is a different type of rating system, and then you got NIOSH, which is the N95 mask. So if we had those, I'd be doing the exact same thing. And boom, we're good to go. Now we got our gloves. These are cotton-based, Pro Tough by Ansell with a nitrile surface. All right, and I got a little bit of paint on mine. That's how I know that's mine. So we'll just lay that right there. It'll be fine. That booty that I was talking about, and I'll put this back in the hallway. Again, it just goes over your foot like that, and then you can walk on any surface. These are painter's booties. These are cheap. They didn't cost anything.
It was like $1 for a whole pack, right?
Yeah, it was super inexpensive.
Right at Lowe's as well.
Keys, my wallet, my cell phone, everything's been disinfected. Another glove, that's Henry's gloves. The shipping label, and it's a little bit moist, so I'll just hang it up here and it'll dry. Boom. That'll be dry in the morning. And then last but not least, our shoes. Soles are good. Shoes, soles are good. And we just put these on the shoe rack for our next outing, whenever that might be. So, make sure I'm not missing anything or forgetting anything. Nope. Oh, and then I'll put this back in the hallway. Or actually, I'll leave that there. So, yeah, this is what we've been doing. This is the Pope protocol. This is how we've been keeping ourselves safe and protected from COVID-19. We've got, just to repeat, we've got multiple levels of protection as mediation. We've got first, we've got our barrier system, which are the gloves themselves, as well as the masks for exhalation. And then we've got, in coming home, 3% hydrogen peroxide, or a virucidal and antibacterial spray, depending upon what the subject is, what the surface is. And then from there, we've got the steam, which is very, very hot. It just happens to be moist, water-based heat, as opposed to being put in an oven or something like that. If we put any of these things in an oven, including the leather shoes and Henry's tennis shoes, it would not have survived. So how do you create heat, but at the same time not damage the material?
Water.
Steam. Just using your noodle. Big brain stuff. Then after that, we've got the bulb. And notice I never touch this part of the bulb. You don't want to transfer oils from your hands to it. But then we've got the anti-germicidal and antivirucidal medical grade UV full spectrum bulb that creates both ultraviolet light as well as ozone. So the UV and the ozone together are two separate ways to mediate that are in one device. We've got it covered. And we've been doing this whole time, including, again, I threw in my wallet and my cell phone and my car keys. We've been doing that this whole time, going back, it's been 6 weeks now, because we started doing this process before the shutdown. before we live in Massachusetts, so before the governor decided to do his thing, we had already been applying this. I think actually, we've been longer than 6 weeks because we were doing this 2.5 weeks prior.
Right.
So it's almost been 9 weeks of this, and it works. And so I hope that you guys can take some of these pieces, if not all of these pieces, and learn something and use them toward your home and your own family. And we want you all to be here tomorrow and next week and next month for us to enjoy selfishly of you, and for you to enjoy us as well. If you have any questions, please leave your thoughts or what have you in the comments. And that's that. That's it. That's Pope out. And I'm gonna get a picture of my son. Get him in there one time.
Dude, you caught me off guard. I was
He's the director and the producer, and also the editor, and all around great kid. All right. So that's it for the night. Thank you much.